Hey pilgrims, Travis Carper, Ascension Guide, Holistic Health Coach. Um, so yeah, today I want to talk about, see if we can connect some dots more and simplify these concepts that I've been talking about through the chelantic morphogenetic science, expansion of consciousness, spirituality, metaphysics, cosmology, kind of tying it together, so to speak, and um, even what's that new movement, mindfulness, mindsight, um, basically coming, adding more love from your heart, or coming from a place from your heart, from love. So just like in the 3 decrees, choose love as your guiding force. So more compassion, bringing that out into, I guess mindfulness to me represents more of a mindful, those kind of movements are more, I guess, commercialized, but that's kind of what we have to do. We have to sort of, at this linear time, we kind of have to commercialize almost love and spirituality. It's kind of weird concept, but it's kind of things that we don't teach. So we do have to kind of bring it out in that manner. So that's another thing to consider. So don't, hopefully consider not putting it down that to pay, spiritual teachers or mindfulness teachers, or, there's a lot of tools and techniques involved in that you can really benefit from. And I mean, you pay for psychologists, you pay for coaches, training athletes, you pay for a tutor tutoring you in piano, or you pay for. So anyways, enough of that. What I wanted to try to connect some of these dots and talk about energy. Everything is conscious energy. So let's see here, when we talk about, like, let's say the movements of vegan or, raw food diets, instead of talking about, because we're moving into this other era of, or this new primary timeline, when we're going to be talking about energy and the expansion of consciousness, which animates this avatar, this physical body, and that's energy too. So what I'm trying to convey for consideration is the, sorry, loudness of a car. What I'm trying to convey is thinking about everything we've said this before, as in energy. Everything is conscious energy. So we're moving it into, thinking about food as energy, thinking about thoughts as energy, thinking about movement of your body as energy, thinking about sitting right here in the sun, and the photonic waves in the sun, and the gamma rays as energy. These are out of your visual spectrum, but that's okay. Metaphysics and spirituality are only, let's say, angstroms, measurements out of your visual spectrum. These quantum, basically at some point there'll be a quantum measurement system probably, but it doesn't matter. It's all the old chelantic morphogenetic science, or the old sacred geometries, and all these old esoteric concepts have been around forever. So basically, there are the sciences are there. We've just been socially conditioned to listen to, you know, the data in 3D. Got to have the data in 3D, you know, to have reasoning instead of feeling from this brain, the heart. And so there is a movement towards more spiritual, you know, we're even getting out of the new agey type stuff and into energy. Anyways, so I want you to try to consider thinking more in terms of energy and not dieting. Think in terms of picking food off the tree, picking food off the vine, picking food up from the ground and eating it. So yes, there is a raw diet, yes. So the more that you put that, the more you alkalize your avatar, the better your chances to have great reconstructive tissue for your brain and your cognitive ability, so that you can use your own logic and discernment and your cognitive abilities. Sorry, there's a bird, there's that bird family, there's the blue jay, or not blue jay, like magpie, the big bluebirds, man. There's a family that lives in my own personal backyard. You know, they live around here, man. And I put out fresh water in the bird bath for them. Okay, off subject there. So anyways, let's connect some of these dots more and simplify it, as it's probably already said. But as thinking about like that flower as energy, we're moving into that fourth density, lower, you know, into the Gaia is moving into that lower fourth density, or already is, and we're moving up, 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 and I don't know how long on a linear time scale that it takes to get to 5D, which I personally think it probably won't totally transition for like 75 years, but I don't know. But we are moving because of the fact where our cosmology is and where our solar system is, and our benevolent star family is buffering some of the sun energy that's coming through from the central sun and coming through these portals, stargates, the plasma that's coming, I think it's a scalar energy was what they call it. There's all kinds of other terms for things too. So try to be flexible and thinking of the old Sanskrit, Hindu, yogi concepts, the Kundalini, and those descriptions, which are great, and use them if you dig that. And now we're moving into a more quantum, maybe it sounds scientific, but sometimes these concepts can resonate a little bit more with certain old souls, or certain beings such as yourself, probably watching this, because I'm probably making videos that resonate for people that are listening to me, right? But anyways, hopefully these inspire you too to do your own research and dig a little deeper into your soul, you know, into your light being, because we are multi-dimensional light beings, and everything is symbiotic with God or source. Everything is conscious energy, and what you're doing, what we are doing, what I'm doing is trying to incorporate or integrate that higher self, which is just higher conscious energy. So you're incorporating it. That's what's so cool about this whole process, is that it's kind of unheard of to, because usually when you make ascension or you do ascension, when you're in an ascension process or cycle, it's usually usually out of body, like you'd be just your etheric, your non-corporeal, uh, your light being, right? But we're integrating within, that's what, within this physical realm, within the 3D, we're utilizing this, and so everything is transmutating, and it's a long process. Think about incorporating all those gamma rays and all those adamantine particles, the plasma, like the photonic waves that are coming in, they're pulsed at a certain algorithmic, I don't even know. I've looked at the charts for years, and I personally don't see the pattern. I think it's actually from us symbiotically, consciously saying, okay, now we're ready for more. So I think that's how this thing is working. I want, this is just for my own, you can consider this, is how this transmutational process and this ascension process in this greater ascension cycle is happening right now. It's amazing. It's monatomic. Which is another word for that I use for awesome. Man, that's monatomic. Yeah, like really cool. So thinking in terms of everything is energy, and higher frequency foods, we've talked about that, and those energies that you do, the silent time, the resting time, that's a huge thing to do with gathering your energy. That's a huge way to gather your energy. And in these soft zones in the artificial world we've created so far, and which has a lot of negative agenda connotations to it. The concept, like concrete, and we've paved with oil. We've used oil for everything. You can just, that's an example. Like the phone here, the plastics and stuff, polymers, acrylic clothing, your carpeting acrylic, the paint, the lacquers, and in paint, there's oil in everything. So it's actually been such a geared towards the petro, and then everybody that, the few families or whatever, not just the Saudi families, which that own it, that own everything, basically. So we're all a part of this. Now we're going to move into being able to manifest energy, thinking in terms of energy, instead of thinking in terms of even, let's say, money exchange. We're going to start thinking in terms of what is that currency energy in exchange for your skill or your product. So we're going to start thinking about that in terms of, in your product. Is it a good energy that you're giving someone? Is it a good service you're giving someone? Well, I'll get a currency exchange for that. Currency energy exchange. So thinking in terms of energy, that's what we're talking about. Even in the whole nutritional, supplemental health and thing that we talk about, thinking in terms of energy. Does that spirulina give me more of a higher quality, more amino acids, nutrition, and higher energy to put inside my vehicle, my energy? And what is this toxic metabolism? What can it ingest? What little parts, baby steps can I take to raise its higher energy to match that cosmic intelligence source, your higher self, your higher energy, How can I match that energy so I can resonate a bit higher and have more compassion and more love and more cognitive ability in my life and more happiness and joy? So that's what we're talking about. I'm trying to connect these dots, having you think about in terms of energy. Why I always talk about morphogenetic fields and everything. That so through all the videos, I think you can see a definite theme happening here that we're talking about light energy. Light energy, yeah. Enlightenment. Lighten up the load. Get happy. Get joyful. It's been dark. So hopefully that helps when you when you're out doing anything or you're thinking about anything. Think of in terms of what that energy is. Thinking in terms of everything is conscious energy. The actions I take, the thoughts I do, the ingestion of foods that I take, when I go to the farmer's market, asking questions about, there's a good block of really super green leafy kale. I'm going to put that in my body today. I'm going to meditate today. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to try to have critical thinking. Anyways, all right, that's probably enough. Let's see, I might have to splice this up a bit. But it's another very beautiful day before some of the bigger photonic waves. There was just a few. There was that one day that was like, my gosh, it was like 5 or 6 hours or something. It was like massive. It put me down. I think I already talked about that in the last video, but there should be another bigger one coming pretty soon. So hang in there, guys. Do all those, all the holistic health tips and tools that I've put out. The adaptogenic herbs and immune boosting mushrooms and vitamin C and zinc and elderberry, and the list goes on. Just go to the health food store, or natural grocers, the co-ops. Go, wherever you go, and ask some questions. Go ask some questions and go read. Get off of not only, we do a lot of research on the internet. It's nice now because we can basically almost teach ourselves. It's really nice if you go through and find some really good blogs, articles, and videos on the internet. Basically, you can go to school right there, but it's also nice to get in contact with people that know their stuff and put it, like I've always talked about, putting together a team. So and get into thinking about higher frequency and higher foods, the places you live, the places you work. How is the energy? How is the frequency? Is the lighting tubes, are they too bright? Are they that fluorescent tubing and they're low and they're just, bringing you down? It's the same concept they have at casinos and the flashing lights and the neon and stuff. It's to actually draw you in and get you seated in front of a table or machine, and actually it's a psychological thing. In the interior design of it actually is a psychological draw, to draw you in to that. So think in terms of where you work. Are you outside enough for that natural vibration, that natural higher energy? Gaia, nature, the sun, the moon, Mars, the planets, how they're lined up, and the other planets. and where we are in the cosmos. Is it feeling good to you? I know these are foo-foo things to think about, but it affects us. I mean, remember the old farmer's almanac? They actually had stuff for the crops and when they grew and the seasons and stuff like that. And indigenous tribes, that's how they live more on an astronomical, a cosmological way of existence and in harmony with nature. So you want to bring in that harmony. Bring in more of that harmony. Though these holistic health tips and techniques and tools and concepts are things to incorporate into your life so that it brings more natural harmonies into your existence, which will uplift you, and you will be right perfectly there with the ascension process.